Hi. Today I want to talk on ascension, awakening, enlightenment, and our shadow. Enlightenment is love. And when we accept ourselves as we are, that's when we're enlightened. That doesn't mean that it ends there. That's where it begins. And it usually is uncomfortable because we're able to see ourselves and look at our behaviors objectively. The judgment is still there, the critical thoughts are still there, but there's a higher level of awakening and consciousness in how we view ourselves, in wanting to improve and to take care of ourselves in ways that we were looking for others to help us or heal these hurts from our past. The great thing about being on a spiritual journey and awakening into greater love is that you come to realize at a certain point that everything that you've ever wanted and looked for outside of yourself to bring reprieve, to bring healing, essentially, is within here, in your heart, in your soul. But it's being able to face the darkness and look at the traumas of the past, to be able to see it from a higher light, to bring forgiveness to those traumas for all parties involved, especially the self, and also to have compassion for all parties involved, especially the self. It is difficult for us to do these things when we're hurt, when we have gone through so much pain and suffering. None of that pain and none of the suffering that anyone has ever gone through has been in vain. It's all here to teach us. And we are equipped to find our inner resolve and strength that we never thought that we could possess, to persevere and to rise higher from these circumstances. There are so many people, including celebrities, that talk about homelessness and that have lived out of their vehicles, and now they're multimillionaires. And it's not just one. So, in that situation, as I think about it, it's not that they were consciously on a spiritual journey, but essentially it was a part of their spiritual journey to see and believe in themselves and their dreams. So, whatever level you're at, it's very important to be able to honestly look at yourself and embrace every aspect of who you are. And that includes the shadowy aspects. And by shadow, I mean the darkest parts of who you are. And that's anything and everything rooted in fear. That's the anger, that's the resentment, that's the impatience, the frustration, the lust, the gluttony, all the things that we want to label as bad. When we are able to fully embrace these aspects of ourselves and just be with it and allow it to be, that's when healing and grace can come in. When you think of a seed that, regardless of whether it's a tree or a flower, but all plants and trees, they all begin from seeds, and we bury them in the ground, in the soil. And it takes time for that seed to sprout. And where is it? It's in the darkness. And in that darkness, it just stays there. And it's receiving the nutrients from the soil. And it's receiving water from the rain or from getting watered from people. In the same way, that's our spiritual journey. We too go into the darkness. And as we just sit with all aspects of ourselves, before we know it, we start seeing more light in who we are. When we run from our pain by wanting to escape from it, by possibly using alcohol or drugs or food or sex, because we are wanting to bring more quote unquote fun into our lives and just not think about what's going on in our lives, we're basically suffering by trying to run away from life. That doesn't mean that life is always serious and we have to deal with these parts of ourselves, but when we are consciously wanting to grow spiritually and ascend and raise our vibration and our frequency so that we are in a higher state of vibration and frequency, the reason why we do that is because we want to feel good. And we don't want it to be measured by anything outside of ourselves. And when we learn to embrace the darkest parts of who we are and just love it and accept it for what we are, or for what it is, we step into more love, more joy, and we also step into our power. And that is priceless when we're not looking to anyone outside ourselves to validate us or to determine how worthy we are or how valuable we are or our sense of security. So if you're wondering, how do you not suffer? Just sit with whatever you're seeing come up inside of yourself. In those moments that you're feeling something uncomfortable or there was a reaction that you exhibited, be curious about it. And then place your hand on your heart and feel it. Feel it fully. Because when you try to run away from it, it continues to persist. But as you learn to accept it and feel it, not judge it, and say it's okay, that you love and accept yourself unconditionally, those words, especially when they're spoken out loud, is incredibly transformative. So I encourage you to check it out. Try it. You don't have anything to lose, but you have everything to gain. And that's freedom. Freedom from victimhood. freedom from poverty-mindedness, freedom from limitations of all kinds that we like to keep ourselves trapped in subconsciously with our thoughts. So, embrace yourself and accept all parts of you, because all parts of you are lovable, including those shadow aspects.